When there's inflation, gold prices increase. In 2011, the global economy is threatened by inflation. One reason is that governments have been printing money.
Well, Adrian, when you print gigantic amounts of money and you flood the world with money, throughout history, that has led to inflation.
Ridiculously high. Sure, they get away with it. Who's going to stop them?
Oil is a major input in many industries. If input costs rise, so would the cost of end products. Under inflation, people's purchasing power decreases.
Decreases my ability to be able to spend my money in other areas that I would like to, like for my children and for their activity.
People buy gold to maintain their purchasing power because gold has intrinsic metal value. It is said that 1 ounce of gold today would buy you a suit, a belt, a shirt, and a pair of shoes. 1 ounce of gold in 1900 would do the same. For corporations, gold is seldom an investment, but its primary purpose is to preserve the corporation's wealth, or we can simply say it serves as inflation hedge. Historically, gold and USD are inversely related. Strong US dollar implies a strong US economy. Investors and corporations would be more eager to invest in stocks and debentures, as the need for gold to preserve wealth becomes smaller. The reverse is true now, as US dollar becomes weak. But in the past 2 years, the inverse relationship has diminished significantly. This is because in recent years, the European debt crisis has been the focus of market attention, and people tend to prefer buying gold and USD over euros. Thus, we have seen USD and gold price rising together. In the long term, USD and gold price still move in opposite directions. When USD declines during crisis, gold prices increase. Corporations can consider gold as a hedge against USD depreciation. Whenever interest rate decreases, there is an increase in gold prices. Since the financial tsunami in 2008, governments have used QE policies to stimulate their economies. Bank rates have decreased as a result. Recently, the Middle East unrest, as well as Japan's tsunami, have also reduced chances of a rise in interest rate.
Gold trading saw a near-record gain in New York yesterday, while silver reached a 30-year high. The cause of the rush on precious metals appears to have been Ben Bernanke's suggestion that another round of QE may be needed to prop up the American economy.
We all know that nominal interest rate is composed of real interest rate and expected inflation rate. This is known as the Fisher equation. In fact, gold price is only correlated with real interest rate, not nominal interest rate. Normally, when treasury bills, notes, or bonds are paying a positive real interest rate that is not being inflated away, you wouldn't hold gold that doesn't pay anything. But if real rates become negative, you would choose to hold gold instead. That's when gold prices tend to significantly increase. For example, when the US 3-month Treasury bill real rates fell below 0% in 2001, the bull market in gold started in the same year. Once again, gold market prospers at times of crisis. With the excessive money printing during wars, hyperinflation would result. People tend to buy gold to retain wealth. Investors often buy gold and silver as refuges against economic and political uncertainty. Increase of gold prices between 2002 and 2003 was a consequence of the war on Iraq. Market contributors moved from other investments to gold investment, causing the demand for gold to jump. Current uncertainties in the Middle East, as well as the nuclear crisis in Japan, have led to further increase in gold demand. As investors seek havens against political and economic turmoil, gold prices are driven to record high in history.
China's holdings of U.S. debt fell for a third month in January, but it remains the U.S.'s largest creditor.
With China being the dominant holder of the U.S. treasuries, China has become the major creditor of the U.S., facing great risk on sovereign debts and thus leading to tense international relations. Many assets, prices are directly affected by pumping and dumping by speculators. That's why we say their demand is an illusion. Scammers often contact new investors with supposedly hot tips and insider advice to convince them to buy a particular stock, falsely increasing demand, and therefore the stock price. This is the pump. When the price shoots up, the scammers sell all of their shares at the inflated price. This is the dump. One may suspect if there's a pump and dump effect in the gold market, with its constantly high demand and value. Actually, many economists have pointed out that the only sure push that gold prices need is low interest rates and rising inflation. The purpose of gold is to be a store of value, and is not a productive asset. Therefore, the demand of gold would not be an illusion. As the value of gold comes from its metal value and not from paying any income to investors, gold has the most stable value and offers refuge against bad times ahead. Meanwhile, boom time investments such as stocks and bonds are happy assets which promise to pay you income and rise in value as the economy grows. Like all good insurance, gold is best bought before trouble arrives, not during or after. So the answer is yes.
Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus, driving so slow, but BK is